Good morning, everyone. My name is Carol Distel, and welcome to Discover Manufacturing Week. We have a lot to get to, but first, what I want to say is Happy Veterans Day to everyone out there, especially to our veterans and their families. Thank you for your service and for your sacrifice to our country. As I mentioned, we have three companies that we are going to be speaking with, and I'm going to get going with that pretty quickly here. But first, I just want to mention a couple of housekeeping items. We do have questions and answer box that is on your toolbar. So each of our panelists will be speaking first, and then we will be following up with questions and answers at the end. However, I'm sure you'll have questions as things come up and people are speaking. So please use that question and answer box to submit your questions, and we will get to as many as possible during this webinar. Students, please, we want to hear from you. Like I said, we are going to be awarding randomly $25 gift cards to anybody who submits a question through any of our webinars. So please get those questions into us so we can answer those. Following the webinar, when you close out, there will be a survey for you to take. So we please ask you to do that. And there's also some gift cards that will be randomly awarded for students who submit their survey. So with that, I am going to open it up to Blake. And Blake, I'm going to welcome you. And then afterwards, I want to also introduce Jerry Hill. So Jerry and I are going to be co-hosting this morning. So you will see both of us on here. So, but Blake, good morning to you. I am going to make sure we get Amber on here as well, but I will have you start and tell us a little bit more about Tennant.
Great, thanks, Carol. Hi, my name is Blake Fleming. I am the Director of Operations for Tennant Company here in Holland, Michigan. Tennant is the world leader in floor cleaning equipment. We supply floor care equipment from vacuums through automated robotic scrubbers that you can see anywhere from the schools that you attend to hospitals that you might go to or doctor's offices, airports, and retail. So anytime that you're in a Walmart or a Sam's Club or a Meijer, it's really possible and highly likely that you'll see one of our machines working in the store. Tennant's been around for 150 years. We're a legacy brand. We started with a woodworking shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and now we're global with working in over 100 countries with manufacturing facilities in North America, in Europe, and in Asia. I've got Amber Caudle coming with us here shortly, who is our HR coordinator, and she'll share her thoughts with you after Carol walks us through a short video kind of presenting Tennant Company to you.
And we're looking like we have technical difficulties on pulling up that video. So why don't I have you continue? I'm going to work on the back end to pull that video up and see what's going on there. But Blake, I'll have you continue your conversation when I work on that.
The focus of our discussion today is about manufacturing and why manufacturing matters. And for us, for me personally, manufacturing is kind of the physical embodiment of the American spirit. What we do in the United States is innovate, create, and manifest those things into products and services that people can use to better their lives. And Tennant Company, I think, is a really great example of that. We're the innovation leader in our industry, from just starting with building out products that help us clean floors and have a safer environment, again, in hospitals, schools, manufacturing facilities and airports, et cetera, but also to the efficiency and sustainability of what we do. So some of our key innovations have been things like ECH2O, where we have reduced the amount of water and chemical required to clean efficiently in almost any application. That kind of lends itself to Tennant's model of sustainability. We kind of have a do no harm model, and it's very important to us that we're active in our communities. We provide sustainable resources for the companies that we work with and our customers to ensure that we leave a cleaner, safer, healthier world. That's what we do every day when we come to work. Personally, I started as manufacturing doesn't start with necessarily a plan. I had children at a very young age, shortly after getting out of high school, and I started as a guy sweeping a floor on third shift in a corn plant in central Illinois. And I started to learn more about manufacturing and what it meant to be part of the manufacturing community, and became a shop floor operator in a corn plant and then a shipping factory. And I got into IT, and the next thing you knew, I was a supervisor. I got my degree and then had the opportunity to go through several years of supply chain experience, and ultimately led me through Lean, which entailed global travel. I've been responsible for 7 facilities globally from a Lean manufacturing deployment perspective. I've traveled to 20 different countries and spent significant time in each of them. So I've learned tons about different people, different cultures, had significant travel experiences, and landed here running a facility myself in Holland, Michigan. So it's not a thing that I ever expected to be my career path. It's not a thing that I woke up one day and said, gee, I'm going to be in manufacturing. But it turned out to be a place where I could grow and exploit my talents and be rewarded for the things that I built, created, and innovated. And it's been a really rewarding experience for me. And now at this point in my career, it's an opportunity for me to provide a rewarding experience for others, where I can teach and develop and bring them along in their careers. And I hope we get Amber on here so that she can tell her story, because it's inspiring to hear.
We're ready to cue that video now, if I think that we have our technical difficulties behind us.
Tennant's a company with a long history. It's a legacy brand, a leader in our industry. I really believe that the core of this company is people that want to make the world a better place through what we do. And we serve in places like hospitals, in schools, in governmental environments that have really strict standards in terms of cleanliness. And we drive results for those people every day of the week.
We use this phrase around here in this facility of one team, one journey, and we really do behave that way. Working together to try to match the expectations of our customers.
They're always presenting us with new opportunities, and this is a place where you can really make an impact on what's going on here. They're not afraid of new ideas. They want you to speak up and speak out. And they're very, very receptive to that. Kind of like a we're all in this together sort of thing. Definitely focused on teamwork.
I've been here with Tennant for 24 years. The opportunities that's been given since I've been here, being able to just gain knowledge and wisdom from the folks that I work around, you know, after a while, it becomes more of a family environment.
Tennant is a really, really good company to work for. I've been working at Tennant for 25 years almost. You get to know people here really well, and people here very friendly, like a family. They treat each other really well. This company, you can depend on it. It's a really, really good company to work for.
Thank you, that was great.
Yeah, so for my story is kind of similar in that I was not expecting to end up in manufacturing at all. I actually went to university in New Orleans and graduated with this degree and had all these plans, and life just took a different path. I actually ended up going to South Korea to teach English for 2 years. Realized that teaching was not my gifting. It's not where I was supposed to be. I love kids, but that's just not, it takes a special kind of person to be a teacher. And so then I came back home and just needed a solid job, a solid paycheck, needed some benefits, and my dad actually worked at Tennant. It was a really great company for him. He worked here for about 25 years almost. So I knew the legacy of the company. I knew that it was, going to have my back, so to speak. And so I got started here. I just thought it would be a temporary thing. So I started off on the assembly floor. I was working on, I think you might have seen me in the video. I was an assembler building the machines, actually assembling the products. And eventually I moved into our rotational molding department. You might have seen it in the video. We have these ovens that cook our parts that we use to build our machines. They're plastic housings. And so you have to put inserts in and fill the molds with powder and send them in the oven. So I was doing that for a couple months, and opportunity appeared for me to start working with the quality section of Rotomold. So I was doing that. We actually launched our quality section, was it last September or was it November? November. Yeah. So I launched that with the team in November, and then in February, actually, I transitioned over into the HR coordinator position. So it's been definitely an interesting journey. Was not expecting to be in manufacturing, but I'm really enjoying it. It's a different pace than the other environments that I work in. So I worked in teaching, and I worked in like a church setting, and I worked in an aquatics facility. And I will say manufacturing definitely has a different feel to it. There's different pace to it, and it's been a lot of fun. So that's why manufacturing is important to me. It's given me a great opportunity to grow, and yeah.
Thank you, Amber and Blake. Really enjoyed your presentation and especially enjoyed your video. Thanks for telling your story. I'd like to introduce Jeff Robinson. Jeff is from Hybrid Machines.
Good morning. Again, like you said, my name is Jeff Robinson, owner and what we call head coach here at Hybrid Machining. We are a CNC manufacturing facility, but the name hybrid comes from the fact that we both use additive and subtractive technologies, which what that means to you is both like CNC typical machines and 3D printing in order to make the best product for our customers. So we put a little video together. If you'd like to quick take a look at it, and we'll talk afterwards.
Welcome to Hybrid Machining. We're located here on the north side of Holland, so come on in and take a look. So here at Hybrid Machining, we take the hybrid approach. And what that means is we collaborate both between additive and subtractive to find the best solution for our customers. In this scenario, we take 3D printing to print the reverse jaws to hold the part quickly and accurately so that we can 3D machine it on the CNC, which is subtractive. We also blur the lines between milling and routing. Typically, milling is for metal and routing is for wood. We are taking metal working machines and making wood and plastic components on them even more accurate than traditional technologies. We do the same thing where we're running metal parts on routers as well. Here at Hybrid, we really like to focus on education, both internally and externally. So we have developed this learning lab here where we are going to be instructing our own, but then also working with local schools and local industry to help teach them and inspire them about all the new materials and new technologies that are out there.
Here at Hybrid, we make a lot of wood components out of a lot of sheet goods and solid wood. Recently, we've been getting involved in a lot of plastic furniture components in response to COVID-19. And we make a lot of small automation components on the machine you see behind me and our other small machine.
I went through an apprenticeship through a big company, and the benefits to coming to a small company from a big company is I have more involvement with the day-to-day activities, quoting parts. I don't just machine parts anymore.
Thank you so much for joining us here at Hybrid Machining. We hope someday that you can come visit us in person and watch our machines and learn something in our learning lab. But in the meantime, feel free to follow us on Facebook and Instagram and see what we do on a daily basis.
All right. So did you guys know that 57% of all West Michigan manufacturers are struggling to get people right now? You know, you hear these stories about all these people not being able to work and this and that, but if you drive around and look, most of us manufacturers are currently trying to find employees and team members to help us get out of the COVID situation and ramp back up and get going again. Another alarming statistic is that in the mold and die industry, people are retiring out of that industry 3 times faster than the incoming apprentices. So that is a huge issue for us. Everything that you have around you that you can look at that's plastic, a keyboard, a mouse, whatever, they're made of plastic. Those are all done on mold and die machines, and we need those technology. We need the technology, and we need these technicians out there. So today I'm going to be talking about high demand jobs. There are a ton of them out there right now. Probably the leading demand job, and both I see it in our industry, but we also see it in a lot of the statistics as well, is the CNC operators. We're constantly looking for CNC operators, not only just be able to push buttons and run the machines, or what we call operate them, but more importantly, we need to program them. We need to draw the parts. These are really good jobs. You don't necessarily have to have 4-year degrees to do this stuff. A lot of companies are doing on-job training. As you can see in our video, we actually have our own learning lab here to teach our own, but then also work with others as well. There's some other really cool things out there right now, like robotic technicians. You might hear word on the street, or maybe your parents talking about maybe robots taking over the manufacturing sector. And there is a small point to that, that's correct. But what they're taking away is all the mundane, boring tasks that no one likes to work anyways. Those are very low paying jobs. No one wants to do them, and we have a hard time filling those positions. So we as manufacturers are relying on automation to assist that. But what happens is if you guys out there can get skilled in being the robotic technicians, you can pretty much name your price right now. It's a very high demand job. We need technicians out there that can program the robots, troubleshoot the robots, do controls and so forth. So that industry is growing, but you have a choice to make, in my opinion, is to be on what I call the low end of it, and you may get replaced by a robot someday, but you have a choice to make and to continue to educate yourself so that you can move up and move with those robots, if you will. And that's why there's actually a new word out there in the industry called cobots. Cobots are robots that you work with. So typically you are working in an environment with a robot next to you or around you, and they are doing the mundane tasks while you are assisting them. So it's much better to be watching robots do your work for you than you physically doing it yourself. There's a lot of other jobs, I would say, that are relative to the manufacturing industry that people don't think about. Typically, when you see manufacturing, you think of industrial lines. Maybe you even seen the picture at Tennant, maybe the assembly line there. But there are a lot of other jobs. Amber can contest to this, that you can start in those positions, but within manufacturing itself, there's a ton of other positions available that you can work yourself into. These are production schedulers. These are shipping agents. Software. Software is huge. We talk about Industry 4.0, which is a big buzzword out there right now. And what that is we are gathering copious amounts of information from the shop floor, which is all really cool, but all it is a whole bunch of what we call big data. What do you do with it? You need people out there that can create apps to work on databases, to analyze all this data, work with AI, artificial intelligence to help us predict when machines are going to go down prior to them actually doing it. So there's lots of that stuff out there. And then there's the cool ones that I'm super passionate about is there are new positions out there right now that don't even have names yet because it's so new. We would maybe call them maybe additive technicians or 3D printing operators or something because they don't even have a name yet. It's so new. So there's lots of companies, even here in West Michigan, that are doing 3D printing or additive technologies in plastics, which you may have seen in some of your schools and stuff. But there's another one right here in West Michigan that's printing titanium and Inconel and all these other very high-end metal parts. Most people don't know that you can 3D print metal. So it's super exciting. There's a lot of things that we can get into. The other thing that I want to represent as well is what I consider the small manufacturers and the wood and plastic industry. So throughout this week, as you listen to these webinars, there are lots of large companies. I'll say Tennant is one of them. You know, they're a global company. Even the next company that's going to be speaking are quite large companies. I'm the opposite of that. Right now we're at 6, but we already added 2 more this week. So we are growing quickly. And there's something to be said about working for small manufacturers versus large. There's a lot of growth. A lot of people want to talk about ladders and stuff in industry as you're growing and you want to get into our industry. The big companies have a lot of rungs in their ladder because they're big. But there's nothing like working for a small company and we get to start at the top of the ladder, just less ladders to climb or rungs to climb. So I want to talk to you very quickly about the career paths. In our industry, you can do very, very well without getting a 4-year degree. Now, if you want to make more money, typically that's the question I get asked. Those can be associated to higher end degrees. However, please keep in mind that a lot of manufacturers out there today will assist you and help you get through school. So the best way that I believe is to work in your community college, work on some associate's degrees and figure out what it is that you like. Amber was the thing, you know, she was a good example. She wasn't a teacher. So if she could have learned that early on and realized that teaching was not her thing, she could have saved a lot of money and got back going quicker. But afterwards, I have lots of time to have some conversation. Feel free to ask questions, and we'd love to talk to you more about the manufacturing industry and what we can do to assist you and show you what all this cool stuff we got going on.
Thank you, Jeff. Really well done. Enjoyed your video and certainly enjoyed your presentation. Next, we're going to have Tia and her engineering team from THK.
Thank you. My name is Tia Lavadier. I'm Human Resources here at THK. I'm a newbie here. I've only been here about 4.5 years, but 2 experienced people to speak with you. Mark Hill is our production supervisor, and Kim Moore is our engineering tech. And so we're going to watch the video, then we'll come back and have them show you their career paths and experiences here in manufacturing.
THK Rhythm Automotive is a global supplier of steering and suspension products. Our company name, THK, stands for toughness, high quality, and know-how. At THK, we aim to contribute to the improvement of society and the development of industry by focusing on these three principles in our technology development and product manufacturing processes. We are market leaders with over 65 years of manufacturing history and award-winning operations in Portland, Michigan.
Hi, I'm Mark Hill. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for giving THK this opportunity to be a part of your day today. I would like to show you a few of our components that we machine, forge, assemble, paint. Quite a variety of opportunities here. We make several sockets as small as this, which can be part of a Zamboni, which cleans the ice rinks at several of the hockey stadiums. We make ball joints. They're not all chrome. This one looks really nice, but they connect the control arms to the steering knuckles. We have intermediate shafts, which is probably our newest product line here, which are produced by robotic welders. And this connects underneath your engine compartment from the steering wheel down to the steering gearbox, as well as drag links, which is our bread and butter of the company. We cut the steel for these, we hot forge them, we machine them, we paint them, we assemble, as well as bend them. We run a lot of parts through a bend press. So several of opportunities on the manufacturing floor. We are located in Portland, which is right in between Lansing and Grand Rapids. We probably employ somewhere near 260 people. And like the video said, we've been here over 65 years. Some of our top customers, you've probably heard of Caterpillar, Freightliner. These are all commercial steering components that go on these big highway rigs, John Deere, Peterbilt, companies like that. So we're very proud of what we do here. We're very safety oriented, and we have a great quality department as well. My history a little bit here. I'm very dedicated to THK. My history kind of starts back around 1953 when my grandfather started here, when the plant first opened, and that related to my father starting here in 1959, and he retired in 1999. He was able to get me in here back in 1988, and I've been here for 32 years since. I started out on the manufacturing floor. I do not have a 4-year degree. I started right out on some of the jobs that all new people start out on, and worked my way through the manufacturing field, learning as much as I could, and turning that into a team lead position, which I was able to keep for 10 years, distributing dispatches, lining up departments, which later turned into the past 12 years of being a manufacturing floor supervisor. So this place, THK, has been very, very good to my family over the years, as well as a lot of other folks that have a lot of relations through the past that have been here. So on that note, I would like to turn it over to Kim Moore, my friend in engineering.
Hi, my name's Kim Moore. I joined THK back in 2008. I hired in THK as a manufacturing supervisor. Opportunities within manufacturing is entirely up to each individual. If you start out on the shop floor and you have desires to move into other careers or paths, or if the leadership sees that you have the potential to move into other career paths, that happened to me. Starting out as manufacturing supervisor, the health and safety and environmental supervisor came available. The plant manager asked me if I was interested in the position. I refused him 3 times, but he kept persisting that I would be the right person to do that role. So I moved into that position. I was thankful that I did. I learned a lot of OSHA related items. I had the opportunity to go to Europe because we are a global company. So within that role, we met in Czech Republic a couple different times. So I never would have had the opportunity to go to Europe without taking that position. So that was an opportunity that I had. And then from that position, a year and a half ago, manufacturing engineering tech position opened up. I applied for that and I moved up into the engineering tech department, working with the engineers on new product, changes in product, doing the process flows, which go into inspection instructions, and then out to the operators on the shop floor. So lots of opportunities in manufacturing. I'm like Amber. I started out with a teaching degree, went to Central Michigan University, got my teaching degree, graduated. Back in 1991, the market was flooded with teachers, but the student debt came due. So I applied for a manufacturing position in Greenville. That's when manufacturing became part of my life. But my grandpa, my dad, both worked at that facility. So student debt came in. So I needed a job that had benefits, hourly wages, good pay. So when I started out, I was a press operator, assembler, welder, and then moved into a training position within the other company that I worked for when I first started out. And in that, I went to prototype department in the engineering area. So I worked with die shops, getting prototypes out to the customers. I moved into payroll position. So manufacturing is what you make it. You start out doing, you have to start out on the floor, sweeping the floors, running the machines. But if you have desires to move and do something better, bigger, and make it a career, the opportunity is there. So, and THK also has tuition reimbursement, which I believe Tia is going to talk about. So I'm going to turn it over to Tia. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have tuition reimbursement for our full-time employees. An example of some of the programs that we do offer for those that are in high school, once you're 18, we have part-time programs available where you work like 3 to 7, Monday through Friday. You can work extra hours on the weekend or when you're on breaks. We have the work-based learning program, if your high school is part of that, that's available. You can be a full-time temp during the summer to come in and work those 40 hours a week plus overtime. And all of those positions start at $15 an hour. So it's good money to be earning while in high school. And then upon graduation, if you want to apply and hire in full-time, that's when the tuition reimbursement would be available. An example is a young man from the local high school here that came in on the 4 hours a night, worked weekends when he could. And pretty quiet guy, but he was good at what he did, graduated from high school, hired full-time. And we had an apprenticeship in tooling open up soon after. He applied for that and was awarded that based on his skill set. He'd been at a career center. And so this young man is making well over the $15 an hour, and he's out of high school 2 years, plus we're covering his schooling. This company is very unique in that any position that's open in the company is listed. People can apply for, find out what opportunities are there. And here you can move to another position and make the money as an outside person. You don't have to leave to go somewhere else to make the money. A very close-knit group here in Portland. I thought I was coming to a different world when I came here, but it is solid. We ship parts and are part of a global company that is worldwide. THK has a good reputation for putting out good parts, safe people, and encouraging our employees to make the most of their life. And it is by choice what they want to do. Thank you for this opportunity. We miss not having you come through because typically we would tour, but maybe next year we can do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We've got some really great questions. So students, I love hearing those and seeing these. So we're going to answer some of them right now. And I know some of our panelists have done that as well, but there's some great ones that I want everybody to make sure they hear. One of the first things that got to me is, and I'm going to open this up to all of our panelists. The question, would you consider your fellow workers your family?
Here at Hybrid, absolutely. I honestly spend probably more time with my coworkers here than I do with my family, at least awake hours. So it is extremely important. We hire that way. We try to make sure that when you're bringing a team member on, it's more like an adoption than it is a just hiring, so that you're investing in them. So it's a really big deal. So yes, I absolutely believe that we are like family here, and that's the culture that we want to build.
Mm-hmm. Amber, do you want to take that too and answer that for Tennant?
Yeah, I would definitely say that we're like a family. You know, people are very involved in each other's lives. Not overly involved. But we care about each other, right? So if somebody's out sick, you know, we check in on them. Hey, how you doing? Like, is there anything we can do for you? I do have, you know, some good friends here that I spend some time outside of work with. But yeah, I definitely feel like we care about each other as a team. And it's very important that you have those relationships when you work in an environment like this, because sometimes there's a day where your plate is just really heavy, you have a lot of work to do, and your friend, your coworker and your friend steps up and says, hey, I got this, let me handle that. It's really important that we have those relationships. So I would agree with that.
Good, got your back there.
Mm-hmm.
How about, let's hear about from THK too. Anybody want to take that question from you there?
Absolutely. We at THK, we strive on a family type environment. It actually is part of our questioning when we go through interviews. We want that connection with folks that come in, that we want them to feel like a part of us as well as them. We are in a small community, which helps drive that family type atmosphere. We take care of each other. We have each other's back, and it's just probably one of the more positive feedbacks you'll get from an employee here, and how close knit. I think Tia kind of touched on a little bit when she started. She has expressed to me several times, I just can't believe the closeness here when she had started. So we're very proud of that.
Awesome, thank you. All right, we've got some more questions too. And of course, we're seeing everybody at THK with their masks on. So we're living in COVID-19. So Blake, I'm going to have you start this one off and let us know, how has COVID changed the way you do business? If your business has changed in any ways, kind of if you could speak to that for us.
Yeah, it's been really significant. A couple of things, you know, Tennant company itself supplies products that go into places that are intended to keep things sanitary and clean, right? That's what we do for a living. So in certain of our market sectors, demand has been incredibly high. So that's a really good thing for our team and our company. Other demand sectors has been really, really low because of government orders and different things like that. So there's been a lot of balancing and shifting around not just the way we work, and I'll get to that in a second, but the work that we get to do and actually do. And we've had to rally around that over the months. And then the second thing is it's been really, it's difficult to keep the personal connection with people that you like to have. You know, we have a significant amount of our team that's working from home. You know, there are very few people in the office. I come in every day and my leadership team does, but it's been really different from the standpoint of being able to maintain that level of connectivity and personal relationship when you can't, you know, water cooler talk is very important. That's where you connect some of the dots that you don't hear about if you weren't invited to the meeting that maybe you didn't need to totally be, but it affects you down the road, right? And when you get into a company that, even if you have 30 or 40 or 50 people, the opportunity just to stop in and say hi and check on somebody or make sure they know about a particular thing is lacking and missing. And then the second thing is we physically had to change the way we work. Immediately we started with masks. You know, back in May, we instituted 100% mask coverage in the facility. We changed the work environment so that we had social distancing in all of our assembly areas, and you know, just all of the different protocols that we've had to put in place to ensure that we keep people safe. Which for us, it's our core mission. At the end of the day, the only thing that I care about, and anybody in my business would tell you, is that you come in, you go home the way you came in, right? So we've been very fortunate, but it's been a radical transformation in the way that we like to do business colloquially, through relationships and through just personal connection, to really trying to figure out how to maintain that stuff and also keep everybody safe.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Jeff, we had some questions too for you about the your partnerships and with your learning opportunities. So can you explain a little bit more about somebody coming in and learning more about on-the-job training, as well as who you work with to kind of expand your students or your employees' wealth and knowledge?
Yeah, so we've got a couple partners. We work very closely with Career Tech Center. Fortunately, they're only like 2 miles from us. So we work closely with them. We're trying to do more with them, but it's been obviously a challenge due to this COVID situation and how to get people here into our physical space. So the Learning Lab is going to be coming as soon as we can open up more. However, we also partner with a company called Next Gen Cam. That is a nationwide Autodesk dealer. We have a live webinar coming up on this Friday. Then we'll be doing a lot of other live webinar type things in instruction on new technology, new CAD and CAM, which is the software that we need to use to draw the parts, and then also the software that we need to create the parts. So those are our main people that we're working with right now. We're trying to figure out how to do it more with the high schools and to get people in here. We do work with several local high schools with their robotics teams. That's a passion of mine. I love making robotic parts for these students so they can go compete in US First. So that's what we got going on right now. It's been a challenge trying to build that up with COVID, but we're working through that right now.
Well, our COVID issues that are going on. So if somebody from THK can tell us, what is the work schedule? What is there like if somebody's coming to work on the floor or one of your starting positions, what's your day? What time do you start your day? What time do you end your day? If you can kind of walk us through that process.
Our schedule, we're a lot of overtime right now, which is a good thing. We're quite busy. We have we're a 3-shift operation. We have a 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. is our first shift. There's paid lunch. It is a straight 8. So we have a break in there around 9:30, and then lunch, is 10 after 12, and it's a 20-minute lunch that gets paid by the company. Our second shift reports at 3 and goes to 11 p.m. And their first break would be at 5:30-ish, and then I think their lunch is at 8:10 p.m. And then the third shift, which is a limited crew right now, we did have a little bit of a setback during when COVID was strong during the summer, but we are slowly getting that third shift back. And they report at 11 p.m. and go until 7 a.m. in the morning when first shift reports.
Okay. And they're assigned a trainer. So when they start out and go to the floor, we call them a mentor, but they're assigned someone that works with them. And first day gets the basics down, how to stop this machine and keep safe. And then they will continue to expand that knowledge and learn their on-the-job training. Within their first month, they go through a 5-day orientation where it's a couple hours each day to be exposed to other departments. So it's an ongoing process that continue with the training done here on the floor.
Okay, great. We also got a question I'm going to ask this to everybody is, what do you think the key skills are to be successful in manufacturing? So I'll let Blake, I'll let you take this one. I'm going to go around to everybody.
I think the key skills are that you've got to be adaptable and you have to be hungry to learn, and we'll teach you everything else. As long as if you've got a good work ethic, you're adaptable, and you're ready to learn, then you can succeed in manufacturing.
I see a lot of nods. So Jeff, I'll let you go on to that one. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so I start with, first of all, communication, especially with our younger generation. It's been a little bit more of a challenge just because it's a different group. So how we communicate even internally has changed. It's not always just person to person. We do use text, we use Microsoft Teams, different ways to communicate because that's the way that you guys work, right? I mean, that's what you are used to. So we're trying to adapt our manufacturing to you guys to help us communicate better. But then the next thing I use the word or the phrase walking with a purpose, which means when you get here, you got to come here with an idea that you're going to work. If it was all fun, it'd be called fun. It's still work. But we're here to work together to get the job done. And if you're just moping around and waiting for someone to hand you something, that is not going to fly. You got to have some self-drive. That's the one thing that I think we're lacking the most in our youth right now. But it's that young enthusiasm to want to learn, like Blake said. And we, as manufacturers, mostly I will say that we're here to train you and we want to train you, but you also need the drive and you want to learn. I think that's the big thing. It's not going to be a handout, but if you try, you can go a really long ways in this industry.
Okay. How about Tia? Do you have anything to add to that?
Just an amen. That was really, but what we find is exactly what Jeff was saying. If people will come to work and they will understand processes and procedures and give it their all, it's unlimited what they can do, and they will feel good about themselves. We also are going through that, learning how to communicate with the new generation. However, they need to have the respect of the hierarchy that the people that have worked here understand and don't come in as a know-it-all. So we're looking for those soft skills. Everything else we can train.
Okay, thank you. I see we have 3 females on here, and I know manufacturing typically may not always attract a female audience. We did have a question from a school counselor of how many women are in your organization, and how would you speak to somebody who's maybe a female not considering, who has never thought about going into manufacturing, why they should at least consider it as a career?
I'd like to jump in on that one to start. We have a large percentage, somewhere 40 to 50% of females on the floor. But to our audience who are coming out of high school, if you can go in and learn the skill of manufacturing for 2, 3, 4 years, whatnot, you can do anything. Because when people look at that resume, they're going to see, oh my goodness, look, they had good attendance. They learned how to use micrometers. They learned how to drive a fork truck, whatever it might be. But that is going to carry you through because they know the type of person you are, and then they're willing to train you in that next level of position.
Okay, thank you. Amber, do you have anything? I know, like I said, we had 2 teachers too, including you, who sort of switched careers here. So I'll let you go and answer this one as well.
Yeah, so I never thought of manufacturing in high school. My dad worked here as an engineer, and even though I had visited the plant, I still had these ideas of like, oh, manufacturing's a little scary. Like they use tool. I've never touched a power drill in my life. Like I just don't know that that's for me. And I just needed a reliable job, and I knew that Tennant was a good company, and I knew that they would train me. So for me, that's how I got started in assembly. And I will say that there's a lot of opportunities that I never realized were here in manufacturing. So there's not just assemblers, there's not just, machine operators or quality technicians or material handlers. There's engineering departments, there are HR departments, there's safety departments. If you're at a bigger company, there's all those different roles. So it's not just if you're working in manufacturing, you're working on the plant floor. Sometimes it's good to get that plant floor knowledge and experience, because then you can relate to the people on the floor. And in fact, I love my role right now because I get to kind of bridge that gap between the production floor and the office. I feel like sometimes they can kind of feel like they're separate ponds, but we're all in the same pond. So yeah.
All right. Thank you. Does anybody have opportunities for students under 18 to work either in summer internships or jobs, or do you have to be over 18?
THK is over 18 due to the work issues.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure on this, but I believe we can go down to 16 as long as they're not operating equipment, which means they can move skids around with pallet jacks and sweep and a lot of other manual tasks that can be done. Yeah, we're trying hard to work with legislation to see what we can do to actually get that moved to help younger students run CNC equipment. That's a law that was passed in the 70s, and it's ridiculous. The CNC machines themselves are probably the safest things out there to run over a table saw or other types of equipment. So.
Yeah, and I believe ours is 18 and up as well for summer help.
What would you say, I think this came I'm going to give this to Blake because I think it came through, but tell us about sort of a company you have worked for that you've really made a difference.
Wow, okay. I hope I'm making a difference in Tennant. So before I came to Tennant, I worked for Caterpillar for almost 13 years. And I had a really broad number of experiences there, from this is kind of post shop floor, from being a supervisor of production employees to a bunch of different supply chain experiences. Working in Mexico, I was a supply chain manager in Mexico for a couple of years. I had global responsibility with lean deployment. And I ended up, leading a team of about 700 or 800 people before I left and came to Tennant Company. So I had the opportunity, I would say, to broadly impact the organization and work with a ton of different people and use all of those different influences along the way to impact whatever I was doing in my next job, right? I think that I learned more in any job that I've ever had by working in Mexico for 2 years, for example. I was deep in it. I was there every single day. I was probably 60% language capable, by the time 70%, maybe by the time that I came back to the States. And it taught me a lot about a different way to have a business culture than what I was used to in the, mid-2000s Midwest, right? It taught me a lot about the things that you can do to help people personally that's different than what I was used to from where I grew up. So I think that I've had the opportunity there to have a broad impact. I felt like we always got good results, but the most, I guess, important thing is the impact that it had on me. Having all of those experiences and some of those transformative things that taught me how to lead and how to work with people of all different cultures and how to develop them despite not being like me or anywhere near the same kind of drive or interest that I had. So I don't know that I did anything really all that good anywhere, but a lot of good things happened to me, I can tell you that.
Thank you. Raise of hands with our panelists. Who has open jobs that they need to fill? Okay, all right. So we have lots of opportunities in manufacturing for our students. So how do people go about applying? So I will ask, that'll be our last question. How do people go about applying to THK? We'll start there.
We have a mini application in the lobby, or they can forward their resume or interest to hr.portland@trmi.thk.com.
Okay, we'll get that information. Amber, how about for you?
If they want to apply directly, they can go to our website, tenantco.com. Otherwise, we do work through a couple of recruiters in the area through Aerotech or through Gill Staffing.
Okay. And Jeff, I know you said you had just hired 2 people, but how do people apply to Hybrid?
Yeah, that's the beauty of a small business. You get to work with me. So you get to send me an email directly if you want at jeff@hybridmachining.com. And then also we encourage you to check us out on, we do our best to keep up on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can communicate with us on all those social media avenues as well.
Awesome, thank you. Students, all of these emails too, I will be posting and sending to your teachers. So in case you have an individual question that did not get answered and you want to direct that to one of our panelists, we will have that information to you. So I thank you for joining us today. Again, you will have a survey that once you close, you can take the survey, let us know how we did, and if you liked this particular method, or if you're ready to go back to seeing everybody in person, which I'm sure you are. Also, for anybody who is interested, we are offering 6 $500 scholarships to seniors who are looking to go into the field of manufacturing. So on that survey, there's information as well. You can find more information on our website, Discover Manufacturing. And finally, if you want to see this video or this webinar over again, or any of the others that we are doing this week, if you go to our YouTube channel, Discover Manufacturing, all of our webinars will be there, and you can learn about these manufacturers as well as others. So thank you again. Thank you to my panelists. It was wonderful to spend the morning with you. And now I get to let you go back to work. So thanks so much, everyone. Have a wonderful morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.